Okay, hello again, everyone. Right now, I will be discussing the another part of the muscular system. It's specifically on the muscles of the neck and back as well as the abdomen. Okay, so let's start with the muscles of the neck and back. So usually, kung makikita ninyo dito, in terms of the muscles of the neck and back, both of them are usually provided ng dalawang sets, no? Dalawang sets ng muscles. We have the extrinsic and intrinsic muscles. Etong mga to naman, it's usually I have already discussed kung ano yung extrinsic and intrinsic muscles from my previous discussion. So, yung intrinsic muscles ng vertebral column, usually they are divided into two major groups. We have the um, epaxial muscles, and then we have the hypaxial muscles. Okay, so we will try to differentiate kung ano yung difference ng epaxial from the hypaxial muscles. So let's start with the epaxial muscles. So these are usually the group of muscles dorsal to the transverse processes of the vertebrae on either side of the spinous processes. Okay, so they are positioned dorsally to the transverse process of the vertebrae. So it's usually make up yung loin muscles and they continue forward to the head. So etong epaxial muscles, these are usually being referred as the erector spinae. Okay? So sa mga domestic animals natin, yung largest from these muscles is usually known as the longissimus muscles or the musculus longissimus. You will be encountering this one later on pag nakuha na ninyo yung ANSI 110 next semester, which is under its slaughtering. So you will be encountering these muscles already. Okay? So, ano ba yung mga different na functions or role ng epaxial muscles natin? First one is it supports the spine. Okay? So, they usually support the spine of farm animals. They maintain. Okay? Tumutulong sila na ma-maintain yung structural integrity ng vertebral column para ma-prevent yung pag-collapse or pag-bend under the weight of the animal's body. Kasi very important etong function na to in terms of the overall posture ng animal as well as yung stability and yung mobility. Okay? Then another one is it extend the vertebral column. So responsible itong mga muscles na to in extending the vertebral column, which means they allow the animal to straighten its back. Okay? Para ma-straighten yung back niya. Very crucial itong function na to in terms of activities ng mga animals natin. Like for example, they stand upright, okay? Meron silang nililift, okay? They will pull, lalong-lalo na yung mga draft animals natin, okay? This is very crucial, okay? Sa mga draft animals natin. And then, lateral flexion. Kasi all throughout the discussion later on, meron kayong ma-encounter na flexor muscles. Meron din kayong ma-encounter na extensor muscles. So, kailangan ninyong ma-differentiate kung ano yung for flexion, ano naman yung for extension. Although I have already discussed this one, kung ano yung flexion, ano yung mga extension. That is from the body movement noon pa, from the chapter 1 pa ng discussion natin. So, lateral flexion, so while yung mga epaxial muscles natin, as what I have discussed, they are primarily associated sa pag-extend doon sa spine. They usually play a role also in lateral flexion. Okay? Ano ba yung lateral flexion? It refers in the bending of the spine from side to side. So very important tong function na to sa mga activities like for example, pag nagte-turn back yung mga animals natin, okay, they maintain yung balance, especially in situations kapag yung mga farm animals natin, they need to navigate uneven terrain or They will change direction while working, lalong-lalo na sa mga draft animals natin. Very important itong mga epaxial muscles na to. So although lahat naman ng mga muscles natin is for posture, kasi it's more on posture stability, posture maintenance, mga ganun. So ganito lang din in terms of the epaxial muscles for posture maintenance and then mobility and performance. Ito na lang, prevention of back injuries. Pag meron kang healthy and pag meron kang strong na epaxial muscles, it usually help to protect yung mismong spine from injuries and strains, lalong-lalo na sa strains. Yung injuries very crucial lang yan pag severe na yung mismong accident na nangyari sa animal. But then more importantly, lalong-lalo na like for example sa atin ng mga tao, common na yung strains, merong mga strains sa mismong spine. Okay? So very important ito in terms of these epaxial muscles kasi if these muscles are well conditioned, are well maintained, they can better absorb and distribute forces para ma-reduce yung risk ng back problems or back pains na tinatawag natin. Okay? So that is for epaxial muscles. Now, in terms of the hypoxial muscles naman, if for the epaxial muscles kanina, it positioned dorsally, and then naman for the hypoxial muscles, it usually positioned ventral to the transverse process of the vertebra. Okay? So, unang-una dyan na function niya is flexion of the neck. So, yung mga hypoxial muscles natin, as what I've said, they are located on the ventral side of the animal's body. It is essential for farm animals etong hypoxial muscles when they need to lower their heads pag magre-graze sila. Okay? Pag kumakain sila, pag umiinom sila ng tubig, or if they could access some food sources at a ground level, pag kailangan ng proper na neck flexion. Okay? So, ang nagko-control dito or yung gumagalaw dito is we have the hypoxial muscles. Then another one is tail flexion. So usually, say hypoxial muscles, it contributes to the flexion of the tail. While yung tail's range of motion may be more limited compared to the neck, yung tail flexion, it is still important for farm animals kasi it usually aids in communication, it aids in balance, it aids in coordination. Like for example, in cattle, yung tail movement niya, it can help in warding off yung mga flies, yung mga insects, okay, para ma-reduce yung discomfort and stress. That is for tail flexion. And then contribution to vertebral column flexion, it also contributes yung flexion ng vertebral column. This is very important din if the animals need to bend their bodies during various activities, like for example, in terms of bending the spine para makapag-perform yung mga specific tasks nila or makapag-navigate ng mga uneven na terrain. Okay? So yung ability to flex yung vertebral column, it enhances yung agility ng animal and adaptability sa mga different environments. And then, ganun lang din, balance and posture, support in activities like walking, running, mga ganun. Ito na lang, response to stimuli, external stimuli. Yung tail movement, kumbaga, it is facilitated by hypoxial muscles. It can be used as a communication tool ng mga farm animals natin. So as what I've said kanina, if a cow may swish its tail para makapag-signal ng discomfort or annoyance, lalong-lalo na sa mga uh, flies or mga insects, mga ganon. Okay? So that is for response to external stimuli. Now here, in terms of the epaxial muscles, they usually serve to extend yung vertebral column and yung neck. And they usually arrange into three adjacent longitudinal group. We have the transversal spinalis systems, the longissimus spinalis system, and then the iliocostalis system. So we will differentiate one by one. So these are the extensors of the neck and back in terms of the transversospinalis system. Okay? So siya yung pinaka-most medial and it usually lies directly to the vertebral bodies and its spinal processes. So it's usually extends from the sacrum to the head. Okay? Very crucial component ng epaxial muscle itong transversospinalis system, which are usually found on the dorsal region of farm animals and other vertebrates. So they are usually positioned along the vertebral column and nag-stabilize sila and nagko-control ng movement ng spine. Yun yung ginagawa ng transversospinalis system. Then we have here the longissimus system, that is the intermediate system. So this is the longest and strongest of the three systems. So it usually extends from the wing of the ilium into the skull. Okay, so usually there are different functions or role of the longissimus system. Okay, we have number one, it's usually for the role in maintaining yung posture. So major component siya. So etong muscle na to, it usually helps in maintaining yung upright na posture nila. Okay? When kasi pag example, when the longissimus muscles will contract, they usually extend the spine, it will keep it straight. So this is very important for animals that usually graze, as they need to keep their heads up and their back straight to access yung mga food sources at a ground level. And then since it extends from the wing of the ilium into the skull, it usually supports the neck also of the animal. So it contributes to the extension of the neck. So when these longissimus muscles usually contract, they will aid in lifting yung head and neck, allowing the animal to reach and access yung mga food, yung water niya or other resources that are located at different level. Okay? So that is for longissimus. And then we have here the iliocostalis system, that is the most lateral, and it extends from the ilium to the cervical 7, to the C7. Okay? So it can be easily identified in most region by the length of its flat, shiny tendons. Okay? Meron siyang mga flat, shiny tendons. So, etong iliocostalis muscle, along with the longissimus and longissimus muscles natin, that is a part of the erector spinae, or what we call as the epaxial muscles. Okay? So ano yung mga different na roles nitong muscle na to? Number one dyan is spinal stability. Okay? So since they are located laterally along the vertebral column, it usually plays a role in stabilizing yung spine. So it maintains or it helps in the structural integrity ng vertebral column, and it will prevent it from collapsing or bending under the animal's body weight. Okay? And then another one is extension of the vertebral column. Like the other muscles and the epaxial muscles, yung iliocostalis system, it aids in extending yung vertebral column, allowing the farm animals now to keep their backs straight. Okay? Very essential itong function na to sa mga activities, like for example, if the animal stands, if the animal walks, okay, if the animal carries some loads, okay, it will help in distributing yung weight evenly along the spine para para hindi magkaroon ng back injury or spinal injury. Okay, so that is for iliocostalis. Now, there are also, if there are extensors, there are also flexors of the neck. So, una dyan is we have the hypaxial muscles. I have already discussed that one. So, we will just discuss the other four. We have the sternocephalicus, the sternohyoideus, the sternothyroideus, and then we have the scalenus muscles. Okay, so una dyan, we have the sternocephalicus. So, that is the V shape. Okay, that is the V shape sternocephalicus muscle. So, it usually flexes the neck and joints of the head, and it usually draws the neck and head laterally. So, there are two divisions of this muscle, which usually both arise from the sternum and it inserts on the head and neck. We have the sternomastoideus and then we have the sternooccipitalis. Okay? So, for number one, the sternomastoideus muscles, it usually functions to move yung head and neck. Okay? So yung contraction ng muscle na to, it usually causes a lateral flexion and rotation of the neck. So when both sides of the sternomastoideus muscle contract, it usually flexes the neck and then bringing the head now downward and to the side. Okay? So, like, yung mga activities ng mga animals natin, like for example, for grazing, so wherein they need to lower down yung head nila para ma-reach yung vegetation, okay? It usually plays etong muscle na to in head turning. Now, in terms of the sternooccipitalis, ang pinaka-primary function niya is to assist the extension of the neck. So, if the sternomastoideus is for bringing the head downward, ito naman for sternooccipitalis, it assists the extension of the neck. So when this muscle contracts, tinutulungan niya na ma-raise yung head niya and neck, contributing now to an upright posture. Okay? So yun yung difference ng dalawa. Si sternomastoideus, that is a downward posture. Si sternoccipitalis, that is an upright posture. So like for example, if the animals need to hold yung mismong head niya pataas, like for example, if very important to kasi like for example, kumbaga merong vigilance, okay, alertness. If the animal will look into a more distant meter, so ito yung ginagawa ni sternoccipitalis. And then we have here the flexors of the neck. We have the sternohyoideus, another one. Ang pinaka-function niya dito is pag-position ng hyoid bone. Yung hyoid bone, that is a U-shaped bone located dito sa neck. Okay? Just below the mandible. So yung sternohyoideus muscle that is responsible sa pag-adjust ng position ng hyoid bone. Ano ba yung ginagawa ni hyoid bone? It usually serves as an anchor sa mga muscles, including those that are usually involved in swallowing and vocalization. Okay? And one function also of the sternohyoideus that is for swallowing. So in coordination with other muscles, yung sternohyoideus muscle, it plays a role in the process of swallowing. So during swallowing, yung hyoid bone, it is moved upward and forward by the sternohyoideus and other muscles para matulungan na ma-push yung mismong food or liquid down to the throat and into the esophagus. Okay? Very essential ito in terms of ingestion and digestion of food. Then another one, we have vocalization. Okay, another function is sternohyoideus. So although it is not directly responsible etong muscle na to for vocalization, pero yung attachment niya to the hyoid bone, it usually indirectly affects yung position ng larynx and vocal cords. Kasi si larynx that is involved in producing sounds in animals, and it usually changes in the position of the hyoid bone, and this can influence vocalization. Okay? And then we have here the sternothyroideus muscle that is also ang pinaka-function naman niya dito is laryngeal control. Responsible siya in controlling the position and tension of the thyroid cartilage in the larynx, which usually houses now yung mga vocal cords. So yung movement ng thyroid cartilage and the tension of the vocal cords directly influence the ability of the animal to produce vocal sounds. Okay? So, eto na. In terms of vocalization, yung sternothyroideus muscle in combination with other laryngeal muscles, it usually plays an important role in regulating some pitch, some tension, and some length of the vocal cords. So ganun din in terms of si sternocleidomastoid muscle kanina, si sternothyroideus muscle, involved din siya sa swallowing process. Okay? Nag-a-assist siya sa adjustment ng larynx and related structures para ma-prevent yung food and liquid from entering yung trachea. Okay? During swallowing. Kasi pag during swallowing kasi, yung food in the right corner, nandoon si trachea. Para hindi pumasok yung mga yon, ito yun din yung ginagawa niya ni sternothyroideus muscle. Para diretso yung food sa esophagus. And then another one, the scalenus muscle. So accessory muscle ito in respiration. They are considered as accessory muscles kasi they usually assist yung primary respiratory muscles. We have the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles. Okay? If there is a need for deep or forceful inhalation, si scalenus muscle yung tumutulong as an accessory muscle. Okay? Pero another one is ine-elevate niya yung upper na rib. So, ine-expand niya yung chest cavity. So, etong action na to, yung pag-elevate ng upper rib ng scalenus muscle, it usually increases the volume of the thoracic cavity and it allows more air to enter the lungs during inhalation. So, yung mga farm animals natin, they can engage the scalenus muscles when they need to take in a larger volume of air, such as during exertion or when they are in a state of heightened alertness. Ito yung ginagawa ni scalenus muscle. Okay? Now, we have here also the muscles of the abdomen. So tapos na tayo from the muscles of the neck and head. We have here the muscles of the abdomen. So we will start from the superficial until the deepest layer. Okay? So it starts from the superficial, the external abdominal oblique, and then pababa sa pinaka-deep na siya. Internal abdominal oblique, the rectus abdominis, and then the transversus abdominis. Okay, so let's start with the external abdominal oblique. So this is the most superficial of the four muscles of the abdomen. So ang pinakauna dyan is, of course, it's for the support and protection. So it contributes to the overall support of the abdominal wall. Okay, so it helps in maintaining yung integrity ng abdominal cavity and it supports yung mga internal organs. Like for example, yung mga stomach, yung mga intestines, yung mga reproductive organs. Okay? So yun yung ginagawa ni external abdominal oblique. Although that is a superficial, pero overall or in general, it helps in the overall support of the abdominal wall. Another primary function pala ni external is yung pag-facilitate niya ng lateral flexion of the vertebral column. So, when one side of the muscle usually contracts, it usually bends the vertebral column to the same side, which is important for activities like turning, like bending, yung mga ganun. So, yun yung ginagawa ni external abdominal oblique. And then, aid in parturition. So sa mga female farm animals natin, yung external abdominal oblique, it can play a role in parturition. So yung muscles contraction can help na makapag-push ng fetus out during the birthing process. And then another one, the internal abdominal oblique that is usually situated deep within the abdominal wall na, beneath the external abdominal oblique. So it usually lies on the lateral side of the abdominal cavity and it usually runs in a perpendicular direction to the external oblique muscle. Okay? Although yung mga sinabi ko kanina, that is also a function of the internal abdominal oblique, pero yung pinaka-unique na function ng internal abdominal oblique is its role in assisting with forced exhalation during respiration. Okay? So, if this muscle is contracted, it helps to depress yung rib cage para ma-reduce yung volume ng thoracic cavity. So etong action na to, it usually aids in the expulsion of air from the lungs during forced exhalation. Okay? So while the external abdominal oblique is primarily involved in lateral flexion and trunk rotation, yung internal abdominal oblique contribution now to forced exhalation will set apart in its role in respiration. Okay? So etong function na to is particularly important sa mga situations na nagre-require ng increased na exhalation efforts ng mga animals natin. Like for example, pag merong heavy breathing or they need to expel air under a pressure if they are with heightened alertness. So yun yung ginagawa ni internal abdominal oblique. And then we have here the rectus abdominis. So it usually forms the muscular floor of the abdomen already. So it originates from the cartilages of the ribs and the sternum. Okay? Pero pag meron kayo nakita na rectus sa mga muscles natin, it does not mean that it's usually a rectum. Okay? Kasi baka ang sabihin niyo rectus that is a muscle from the rectum. Okay? Ang rectus sa anatomy, it usually describe yung mga muscles that have fibers that run in a straight or parallel direction. Yun yung tatandaan ninyo in terms of a rectus. Kasi yung Latin word na rectus, it means na is straight or direct. Okay? So when you encounter a muscle with rectus in its name, like yung rectus abdominis, it usually indicates that the muscle has a straight parallel fiber or it is aligned in a direct manner. Okay? So in terms of the rectus abdominis, it usually refers now to the vertical orientation of this muscle along the anterior abdominal wall. And yung pinaka-primary function ng rectus abdominis is to provide support to the abdominal wall. Okay? So it maintains or tumutulong ito sa pag-maintain ng structural integrity ng abdominal cavity and it usually supports the internal organs. Okay? Pero as what I've said kanina, although yung external abdominal oblique, yung internal abdominal oblique, lahat naman ng mga to is usually for the support of the abdominal wall. Okay? And then, another na function niya is ventral flexion of the vertebral column. So responsible itong rectus abdominis in terms of ventral flexion of the vertebral column. So when this muscle contracts, it usually causes the animal to bend its back forward. Okay, para ma-pull yung rib cage toward the pelvis. And then another one is abdominal compression. So if this muscle contracts also, it compresses yung abdominal contents. It aids now in activities like, for example, pag urination, pag tatae yung animal in terms of parturition, yung mga ganun, yung increasing yung intra-abdominal pressure. Okay? Etong muscle na to, tumutulong to, yung rectus abdominis. And then we have here the last one, the transversus abdominis, that is now the deepest abdominal muscle that could be found in farm animals and other vertebrates. Okay? We have the transversus abdominis. And yung pinaka-unique na characteristic niya dito is for the stability of the lateral trunk. Okay? Particularly, yung unilateral or one-sided contraction niya, it plays a important role in lateral trunk stability. So, etong nangyayari, when one side of these transversus abdominis contracts, it usually assists in preventing lateral or side-to-side movement of the spine. Okay? So, it usually helps in maintaining yung stability and balance in situations wherein yung animal natin, it needs to resist lateral forces. Like for example, during activities that involve sudden changes in direction or uneven terrain. So it contributes now to the overall strength and integrity of the core muscles, which are essential for farm animals to maintain yung stability, like for example, standing, walking, or any various activities that the animal usually function. Okay, so that is now the end of my discussion for the muscles of the head and neck as well as the abdomen. For the next discussion, I will have the muscles of the thoracic limb and pelvic limb.